breaking news from KXAN News.
That breaking news is happening right now. Firefighters in Austin battling a house fire on Port Royal Drive. This is a live picture of that house. We're talking about West Austin in the Lost Creek area off of 360.
And you can see the fire is still going through the roof. It does look somewhat under control. Austin firefighters are there entering through the entrance of the house. They do have a lot of the fire knocked out. They say we have reached out to the Austin Fire Department for more information on exactly what started the fire. We still don't know, but we do know that, as you can see from this live look of our picture, that it looks destroyed. The inside is pretty bad. The outside as well, you can tell that there's a lot of activity happening there. So we're going to keep checking in with the fire department and our photographer out there to give you an update on the latest on this fire happening right now. Welcome everyone to KXAN News Today. Let's get you started on your Thursday morning headlines. Austin City Council's meeting today. They're talking about moving forward with extending the downtown Austin community court service, possibly increasing its funding. The court serves as a homeless diversion program, and the expansion would see it serve the entire city, not just downtown.
Austin ISD could name its sole finalist to lead the district at today's meeting. Last week, district leaders revealed they have received 6 applications for the superintendent job. Matias Segura has served as interim superintendent for almost exactly a year. He took over for Anthony Mays, who was also serving in the interim role last year.
Today, the Austin Police Department is going to launch its No Refusal initiative for the holiday season. That means if you're pulled over and officers think you're intoxicated, you refuse a breathalyzer, they are going to get a blood search warrant. No Refusal ends on January 1st.
There is a little bit of rain out there as we kick off this Thursday morning on KXAN News Today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tom Miller.
Good morning. I'm Sally Hernandez. All right, Kristen, we have some pretty big rain chances coming up too.
Yes, tomorrow is still looking to be the day for more meaningful rain, but an update to the storm system. Let me show you what we've got out there this morning, because it is drier compared to what we had yesterday, but not 100% dry. In fact, we still have some spotty rain out there, light in coverage and intensity, but a few raindrops, a few spots of puddles out on the streets, certainly possible as we kick off our Thursday together. Live look outside from our Whittlesey Landscape Supplies weather camera there in Granite Shoals. You can see the cloudy skies laying on top. Not seeing rain in this area. Like I said, it's still pretty spotty in coverage, so not everybody's going to find those raindrops on the way this morning. But temperatures in the 40s and 50s, everybody cooler than what we had yesterday. So looking at that difference between right now and 24 hours ago, we're down anywhere from 2 to 10 degrees. Hill country is seeing more of a difference than those further off to the east. Parents getting the kids ready for school, I would suggest maybe just a raincoat just in case this morning you find yourself underneath one of those isolated lingering showers, but drier and milder for this afternoon. In fact, pockets of sunshine expected, temperatures warmer in those mid 60s today. Coming up, we are tracking tomorrow's cold front, an update to those rainfall potential totals, and then the weekend looking good. There's just one thing we'll have to watch for on Saturday. More on that in your first winning forecast.
Thank you, Kristen. A proposed library policy at a local school district could give some parents and community members more say on which books are being read. But not everyone's happy about this.
Now, Nabil Ramonda spoke to parents at the Lake Travis ISD school board meeting who say censoring books is not the way to go.
Books do not hurt impressionable minds.
Students and parents.
It was political then, and it is political now.
Spent Wednesday night sharing their thoughts on banning and removing books in Lake Travis ISD.
Let's be honest. Book challenges in this district are not about parents protecting their own children.
During a November school board meeting, the district discussed new library policies and the removal of some books. It's a move parents like Anna Lindsay don't like.
And we're also seeing a new library policy being proposed that may make it easier to challenge books and get them off of shelves.
HB 900 just passed this year, and it's going to require that the schools create a policy that removes or moves sexually explicit books.
Jennifer Fleck was also at Wednesday's meeting. Her son graduated last year.
So the school districts rightfully are starting to look at their policy because it's going to need to change. So do I think that there should be pornographic books with pornographic content and pornographic pictures paid for by taxpayers in schools K through 12? No, I don't.
Julie German says parents should have a say, but only over their own kids.
Each parent can make that decision for their own child. What those parents should not be doing is making that decision for my children or other people's children.
Nabil Ramadna, KXAN News.
The district tells us that the board was meeting about the topic of banning books and library policies in private. We did ask for comment on the subject, but officials declined to comment when we were there at the meeting.
While Lake Travis ISD looks into its own changes, the State Board of Education met to implement those new school library policies signed into Texas law this year.
The board talked about these new standards, and a new law calls on book vendors to rate material that they sell to school libraries, banning any books deemed harmful, sexual, or vulgar. The law requires the State Board of Education to approve policies that lets parents decide which books their kids can read.
I'm talking about graphic detail. Those are the materials that we fought to remove from the school system. We know that their parents are not present in the school system.
The law is currently being challenged in federal court. Booksellers filed suit saying the law violates free speech. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals heard arguments last month, and the judge did not indicate when they could rule on that case. For the second time in less than 5 years, the U.S. House of Representatives voted to launch an official impeachment inquiry into a president.
The Republican-led effort is focused on President Biden and his family's business dealings. NBC News' Ryan Nobles reports on the party line vote that came last night, just hours after the president's son, Hunter, defied a subpoena to speak with lawmakers at closed-door hearings.
The impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden is now officially authorized by the House of Representatives. In a complete party line vote, every single House Republican voted in favor of making the investigation official. It's already been underway for several months after it was launched without a vote by the former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. This will now give the committees investigating the president more power to subpoena witness testimony and documents. Among the witnesses they would like to compel to testify, the president's son, Hunter Biden, who on Wednesday defied a request to testify behind closed doors to the House Oversight Committee. Hunter Biden now facing the possibility of a contempt of Congress charge when Congress returns from their holiday recess. We'll break down what this means for the president in terms of his re-election prospects and whether or not there's risk for Republicans coming up on the Today Show.
Is Elon Musk setting his eyes on higher education? What we're learning about his plans to maybe open up a university here in Austin.
And why UT Austin is investigating a campus protest as the Israel-Hamas war creates a divide close to home. Good morning. There is a heads up for Tesla owners. The Austin-based electric car maker will recall more than 2 million vehicles.
It's a major recall. It's tied to defects in the system that's supposed to ensure Tesla's drivers who use the autopilot feature are still paying attention to the road. The recall follows a 2-year investigation by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. It's a series of Tesla crashes that occurred while the autopilot system was in use, some of those involving some fatal injuries.
The agency says that the system's method of making sure drivers remain attentive while using autopilot can be inadequate. That recall covers models Y, S, 3, and X, some produced as far back as 2012. Others as recently as this year. Tesla will release software updates that include additional controls and alerts. To find the full list of cars impacted, you can go to KXAN.com and search Tesla recall.
Could we soon be saying Elon Musk University?
It is a possibility. New reports claim the Tesla and SpaceX CEO plans to open one in Austin, along with elementary, junior high, and high schools. Bloomberg News revealing Musk donated $100 million to a group called The Foundation. It's to launch schools that focus on science, technology, engineering, and math, or STEM. The foundation plans to get accreditation from the Southern Association of Colleges and School Commission on Colleges.
And according to Bloomberg News, tax filings show students will be selected on merit, meaning admission would not be guaranteed to people connected to the university. Donations and tuition fees would fund the schools.
Still had reaction from the families following the president's meeting with those who still have loved ones being held as hostages in Gaza.
House Republicans unite to formalize an impeachment inquiry into President Biden. The claims being made against the president and his son Hunter.
Good morning, all. Coming up in sports, the first true road test for Texas women's basketball and a huge day for Texas football. And players coming in and players coming out. We're breaking it down coming up.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to KXAN News Today on this Thursday, December the 14th already. We're talking to Krista for the latest on your weather coming up in just the next few minutes. But first, let's talk about the conflict. The Israel-Hamas war rages on. At least 8 Americans are still in Gaza, and their families have publicly begged for President Biden to do everything in his power to negotiate a total release of the remaining hostages. The families had what they call a terrific 2-hour meeting with President Biden.
I think we all came away feeling that as families of hostages, of American-Israeli hostages, which are 8 out of a total of 138 hostages, we felt.
And they thank President Biden and his administration for their continued efforts and outreach as they work to recover their loved ones. NBC News' Richard Engel says that the family and the presidents are meeting behind closed doors in the White House as well.
Despite criticism from President Biden that Israel risks losing international support because of indiscriminate bombing in Gaza, Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu said that no amount of international pressure will stop Israel's war to destroy Hamas. I'll have a full story coming up on the Today Show.
The University of Texas at Austin just launched an investigation sparked by a pro-Palestinian protest on campus that the university says, quote, crossed the line. Jayla Washington shows us the moments in question from last week, why some feel there's a divide on campus over the Israel-Hamas war.
Tensions rising over the last 2 weeks. From pro-Palestinian students staging a walkout over a speaker on campus who they feel isn't supportive of Palestinians and being escorted out, to students entering a private office preventing a university official from leaving, and a protest over 2 teaching assistants who lost their positions after giving out mental health resources to Palestinian, Arab, and Muslim students. All of this leading to a UT Austin investigation.
And we just want people to listen. One of the only effective ways that we can do that is to be confrontational with protest.
The university in a statement Wednesday said protesters crossed the line, adding it will punish those found to violate the rules, policies, or the law, saying actions taken stem from intentionally false narratives and a coordinated disinformation campaign.
For the university to basically pin a target onto the backs of their own students is completely ridiculous.
UT declined an on-camera interview, but told me students wore masks to conceal their identity. Those students claimed it was for safety and protested inside, which isn't allowed.
If a speaker tries to force someone to listen to them against their will, that's a violation of the University of Texas institutional rules.
Don't all protests do that?
It's a bit of a gray area.
Since the Israel-Hamas war started, UT has put out these 2 statements about the impact on all students. But this situation back in October, Palestinian students confronted by men who do not go to the university outside one of their meetings was not addressed.
They are very, very, very quick to condemn their own students.
Is there anything that y'all would have done differently?
Had the university just, spoken to us, addressed our concerns, there would be no need to protest. There's nothing we would have done differently.
Jayla Washington, KXAN News.
Going in depth this week, Governor Greg Abbott spoke at the Higher Edge Leadership Conference. It's put on by the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, and at the conference, Abbott talked about his concerns that ideological conflicts on campuses could take away from what he views as, quote, time on task.
Drifting from your core mission is not only exposing your universities to extraordinary condemnation like what some Ivy League schools have been subject to. You're causing us, if you do it, to drift away from what our real core mission is, and that's to keep America the #1 country in the world.
Abbott added that some universities have, quote, lost their mission due to ideological indoctrination.
The KXAN family is a little bigger this morning. Yeah, welcome to this little baby. Thanks to our morning traffic anchor, Erica Brennis, for letting us show you Bailey. She had Bailey on Tuesday. She says her and baby Bailey are doing well. She says her daughter Baker is settling into her new role as big sis, like a champ.
So sweet.
Good for you. Yeah, look at those cheeks.
Tiny little squish.
Yeah.
And Erica has been very open about the fact that it's been a journey as far as fertility issues go. So this is a long time coming. Yes. And it's such a happy moment to see it's finally here.
Yes, yes.
Finally here for the whole family. So congratulations, Mama. Let me show you what's going on with your forecast here, because we have had a nice little soak-in over the last 24 hours, if you will, right? You had some nice spotty rain scattered at times. Yesterday's rain chances actually overachieved on us. We love to see it. And even this morning, kind of hanging on to some of those light rain showers here. Most of these totals are less than 1/4 of an inch, but you know what? Given how dry we are, we won't be picky. We'll take the rain when it comes. Storm system slowly moving towards us out of New Mexico here. There's actually 2 different lows. I think that low up to the north is going to try and pull our storm system a little further toward the north, which might limit tomorrow's rainfall potential. But you know what? We're still expecting rain. So let's jump into it, because the temperatures are different this morning. It's a little cooler out there. Low 50s is what we have in downtown Austin. 40s from about I-35 westward there. You'll notice Hill Country waking up to a chilly start, hanging on to those lower 50s out across our eastern counties. Hike and bike forecast shows 50s here with us through lunchtime. Then with drier skies, a little more sun, high temperatures back to seasonable. 65 is what we're looking at today. That rain chance drops to about 10%. So any leftover rain we'll see this morning, and then this afternoon looks to be dry if you're thinking about getting in that walk or that trail run. Let me show you what the skies will look like, because like I said, the rainfall potential is pretty minimal today. If you see yourself underneath a shower, consider yourself lucky, but by this afternoon, we'll clear things out. Likely to stay mainly dry overnight. Cold front, though, still on track for tomorrow morning in the Hill Country, pushing northwest to southeast as we get into the late morning, early afternoon. And then this is going to continue to slowly make its way southeast into our eastern counties by late afternoon, early evening. But you'll notice by 6 o'clock tomorrow, almost all of our high resolution models are showing majority of this east of I-35. So still trending that Friday night, tomorrow night, won't be a washout. It's going to be the morning and the afternoon that looks wetter. Rainfall potential, here's the update. Not nearly as impressive, right? You hate to see it, but we'll be grateful for the fact that we've got about 1/4 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch anticipated out of that cold front. The 1 to 2 inch rainfall potentials, those will be more isolated in pockets. Just kind of a matter of where will those isolated thunderstorms set up within all that shower activity. 7-day forecast, mid-60s today and tomorrow. For your weekend, we completely dry things out. The winds will be with us on Saturday, but your temperature's not bad. Sunday will definitely be the pick of the week. Upper 60s with sunshine up top. We'll start next week with mainly sunny skies. Those temperatures just barely above normal, and your overnight lows in the 30s and 40s most mornings for the next week.
Kristen, a substitute teacher at Leander ISD is no longer allowed to sub for the district. It is after the district says that they brought a gun to school. In a letter sent to parents at 4 Points Middle School, Principal Steve Crawford wrote that students were not in any danger. He also wrote that the sub does have a license to carry. He went on to add, quote, "We are taking the situation seriously. Bringing a gun to any school violates federal and state law." In Crawford's letter, he noted that students alerted staff about the gun.
I definitely think the White House is doing a lot more than has ever been done before. Again, by setting up this Office of Gun Violence Prevention, by bringing legislators from across the country together to talk about ideas. It's always helpful to hear what other people are proposing.
This is KXAN Sports, brought to you by Thomas J. Henry.
Good morning, all. With Texas in the college football playoffs, so much focus this week has really not been on that. Schedule release, a new Longhorn, and now a big name leaving the program. Redshirt freshman quarterback Malik Murphy is set to transfer. That was first reported by ESPN a day ago. In 2 starts, plus coming in relief a couple times this season, 40 of 71 passing, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. You saw him dancing there, clearly cherished the moment and what it meant to him to stick with this program. Former 4-star recruit, expect a whole lot of interest in him. Next year looks like Quinn Ewers, Arch Manning if they both choose to stay, and then freshman Trey Owens also looks like he's not going to be in the Sugar Bowl. That is for Murphy. As for the new Longhorns, Kobe Black, 6'1" senior cornerback from Waco Connolly, kind of faked everyone out a couple times, picked up the Longhorn hat in his announcement Wednesday, put it back, picked up the A&M hat, then it was indeed Texas, chose the Longhorns over A&M, Oregon, LSU, and Oklahoma State. Joins a very talented defensive back room at the University of Texas. As far as the women's basketball team with the Longhorns, they haven't just looked good, but consistently great to start the season. All wins by at least 12 points. That 12 one was against UConn at home, but their first true road game Wednesday night, Vic Schaefer and company, and look back there in the orange, our Roger Wallace there on the road doing radio with the team in Tucson against Arizona. Taylor Jones with the and 1 in the first quarter. She had 16. Second quarter, Texas up by 7. Rory Harmon up ahead of the local product, Shea Holly, to close out a 6-0 run. Third quarter, she's just a freshman, folks. Coach has been raving about her since she was in high school. Madison Booker, the big putback and the stare down after that later in the third. Hometown star had about 50 family members in the stand. Shaylee Gonzalez sticks one of her 4 triples. Texas rolls an impressive 88-75 win over the Arizona Wildcats. Really dominated that one after Arizona took the lead early. Also tonight, volleyball national semifinals. Texas against Wisconsin. Winner, of course, a spot in the national championship game. More about that later tonight. That's it for sports. We'll send it back to you.
Then we're going to keep it going a little bit longer here. Longhorn fans, we now know the dates you're going to want to circle on your calendar. The schedule is out for Texas football's first season in the Southeastern Conference. Some of the big games include Week 2 at Michigan. Conference play opening up at home against Mississippi State. Other big home games include Oklahoma, Georgia, and Florida. The final regular season game is away to Texas A&M. Right now on KXAN.com, you can find the full schedule under the Sports tab.
And for those listening on the KXAN Today podcast, welcome and thanks for joining us. Stick around. Here's what we're tracking for you at 5 o'clock. Austin City Council is meeting today. What it's voting on that could affect the entire homeless population in the city.